David Bone, Letters, January 21, claims a separatist Scotland isn't known in history. I suggest that he have a close look at the Declaration of Arbroath, written 700 years ago, and thinks carefully about what it says. The Saltire is in fact, the oldest national flag in the world. Simply denying our identity won't make it disappear, like a persistent, rather embarrassing stain. He says it is easy to have a dual Scottish/British identity. That is true, and that's the trouble. Scottish independence means freeing ourselves from precisely this delusion of an essentially benign Britishness. It means acknowledging the fact that since its creation by massive bribery and corruption in 1707, the British state has been congenitally and irredeemably an imperialist construct. The problem is that Scotland has a schizoid identity. We were on the one hand, the perpetrators of imperialism, while being at the same time its victims. Perhaps this lies at the root of Hugh MacDiarmid's infamous Caledonian antisysygy. Mr. Bone boasts that Scotland did well from this precious union. Indeed, a few did profit handsomely from empire, rich capitalists and servants of the state did nicely, thank you. But at what a cost? While the common men were far from home fighting for the imperial masters, their wives and children were being evicted from their homes and their houses burnt to the ground. The soldiers returned to poverty and destitution, and drifted into the cities seeking a living. The empty landscape we regard today as beautiful is a painful witness to past injustices, just as is the present grotesque ownership of vast swathes of our land by a handful of plutocratic landlords. But nostalgia for imperialism is still a very potent element in political life. Mr. Bone's letter is powerful proof of this. Brian M. Quayle, Glasgow G11. Mark Smith, How the Change Factor Might Still Scupper the SNP, The Herald, January 20, writes that many Scots want to stay the same, British, within a changed system, and then argues that the change needed is toward a federal system based on proportional representation, meaning, less chance of a Tory government at Westminster and so, by extension, less difference with Scotland. There are two major errors in this. First, in 2011 the British electorate rejected the alternative vote, AV, about the simplest method of PR there is. Only the Liberal Democrats, SNP, Plaid Cymru and most of the Green Party were in favour, while the Conservatives were resolutely against and Labour, perhaps an indication of things to come, adopted no official position. The UK vote to reject was almost 68%, with England voting 69% against and Scotland 63%. Secondly, it is all very well to speak of federalism, but just how would it be introduced? For instance, what relative powers would continue to be held at? For more on this story, visit the news article link.